They took Laurent Kabila, they put him on power. But when Laurent Kabila decided to rebel against them, they killed him. They put his son.
You're making strong accusations here, Prof. I
Wait,
support it with evidence. Support it with evidence.
Yes.
I will send you my book to read. So Laurent Kabila first, and then after they killed him, they put his son, and his son reigned for 18 years. And what happened? The army of the Congo, because the Congo didn't have an army, the army of the Congo was integrating Rwandan's troops.
Welcome to Something Nice with Dinano. Thank you very much for joining us. We have a special interview today, following on the interview that we had with Yahunde Batakane. We have a DRC native, he'll correct me if I'm wrong, and a PhD academic, Professor Naupess Kibiswa, who's a conflict and genocide prevention specialist. I know it's a very long title, Prof. You will correct me and you'll put it together the way it's supposed to be put.
It's good. The only the name, it's Naupess Kibiswa.
Naupess Kibiswa. Thank you very much for your time, Prof. I appreciate it very much. We had a conversation.
Who appreciate your service. Can I know how to pronounce your? I'm struggling. Dinilonga.
Okay, that's my real name. Okay, it's Dini Losanga.
Dini Losanga. Loshanga.
Now you're sounding like a white person, not perfect. Get rid of that.
I don't want to be white.
Get rid of that French accent.
Yes.
What's your native tongue? What's your home language?
I am Murega.
Try to tap into that Murega tongue now.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's Dini Loshanga.
Dini Loshanga. Oh, good. Dini Loshanga.
Perfect.
Good. And Mekuto.
Yes, sir.
Dini Loshanga. Mekuto.
Yes, sir.
Good. And which is the name, the common name you use to be called?
So at school, they called me Dini.
Dini.
Yes, sir.
Dini Loshanga Mekuto. Thank you.
You have said it like
what?
You've said it like a Xhosa person from Ezinguka. That's my ancestral home. Zinguka.
You are Xhosa?
I am Xhosa, but I think it's deeper than that. One day we'll discuss my lineage and where I come from.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I love it.
And you said your language is?
Kilega. If I say it in my language, I would say Ileka.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a Bantu language?
It is.
What's meat in your language?
Huh?
What's
Nyama.
meat? Oh,
Nyama.
We are one people.
Yes.
Welcome, Prof. One day we'll have to do.
Okay. Despised by those who are leading Rwanda and Uganda today, because they say, because of we are inferior, they are superior, and they need to dominate the whole area. That's the theory.
Maybe we can talk about how we can get our people. When I say our people, I talk about African people in general. How we can get away from those things of saying you look different, so you are not the same as me. We have it all over the continent. We have it here in South Africa. You will have some people say, no, this tribe is better than that tribe. But hopefully, with such conversations, we can get to a point where we say, we are the same people. We are of the same soil, the same land. Let us unite. Let us make this continent better for our children. I hope that's the type of conversation we're going to have. But I know it's historically based. So for someone who doesn't know who you are, just give them a background of who you are.
Yes, I am Dr. Naupess Kibiswa. I was born in the Eastern Congo, in South Kivu province, and I have been in the USA for my postgraduate studies. I did my master's degree in peace and justice in San Diego, and my PhD in conflict resolution in Florida, especially in, let's say, Fort Lauderdale. And I did my specialization in genocide prevention in different institutions, including the University of the one which is close to me here. The name is and two very different universities, because they offered short, and I did the Holocaust as well with the Israeli Museum.
This conversation, we have titled it, we are looking at some of the statements, or it would stem from some of the statements that have been made by Mwalimu Julius Nyerere and Thabo Mbeki on the Banyamulenge Wars in the DRC. Just give us a brief background on the topic and why you think it's important in this context when we look at the conflict that's happening today in the DRC.
It's important because when it started in 1996, it needed some legitimacy. And legitimacy came from outside. It came from people like Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, who was the main sponsor at that time. And he made a statement, a powerful statement, in New York at the International Peace Academy, which is now being broadcasted many times when M23 started his war. And to legitimize more, they took that speech from Julius Nyerere that was made in December 1996. War started in October 1996, and Julius Nyerere made that statement in December 1996, and Thabo Mbeki did his statement to emphasize the same statement in 2023. And he kept doing that. That's why that's a tool used to legitimize war, to justify why they should be fighting, because they are not immigrants in Congo. They are natives of Congo. That's why it's important, and that's a misleading statement.
What are some of those things that stood out for you that he said that makes you reach this point where you say he is misleading?
First of all, remember when war started in 1996, it came from Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi. Uganda was led at that time by the same president who is of the same origin as the current president of Rwanda, Tutsi, and the same origin in Burundi. The president of Burundi at that time was also of the same tribe. All they were Tutsi. That's the main context. And it is said that Julius Nyerere has some roots from the same group. And they gathered troops from the government of the army of Rwanda, Uganda, and Burundi that were mostly Tutsi armies, and a group of soldiers came from Tanzania, and a group of soldiers came from Zambia. And when they were reaching Kinshasa, Angola joined them, and the main picture was to overthrow Mobutu, to oust Mobutu. That was the context. And then, what he said, the main statement he said is, the Banyamulenge are not immigrants in Zaire. They are not. I just quote. The Banyamulenge are not immigrants in Zaire. They are not. And that's untrue. I have much respect for Julius Kambarage Nyerere. Peace to his person. But I think he has been somehow misled by those leaders of that community named Banyamulenge. And I will tell you that I don't want to be using the word Banyamulenge because it's a conflicting identity. There is another group that claim the same identity in Congo. So that's when he says they are not immigrants in Congo, it's not true. But he was led to say that from what he got from leaders of people who want to call themselves that way. Those people made many statements. Among them, one of the leaders of the a civil society organization whose name was, do you want me to cite names? Or I can
if you're comfortable with that. You can.
Yeah, because I would like not to be necessarily pointing fingers, but he was the leader of an organization, civil society organization named Group Milima in South Kivu, the area of Uvira. He was the leading figure in doing that campaign. He wrote many letters to the UN, to Carter Center, to the Human Rights Commission in Geneva, and that's how he came to say they are not immigrants in Zaire. And if you look at his speech, just observe the way he's saying. He says the Banyamulenge are not immigrants in Zaire. We have been told, that's his words, we have been told they were treated as natives, and then he said, we have been told. And when he was saying, he was looking at some of his advisors a little behind. So to check if he was right, those two things, when he says, we have been told, and he is looking behind to try to see if he was correct, those two things signal that there is something he didn't himself master, but he was led to say that.
Who
And you will
told him?
see, huh?
Who told him this thing that he was not sure of?
I don't know who told him, but I will show you that they are really, they are not natives of Congo. They are
Okay.
natives of Rwanda.
Okay. Let me just give you a point where I'm at.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't know much about this conflict, so I'm relying on you to give us the information. We have tools like AI. I've just searched now on my AI tool, Gemini, which is a Google AI tool. It's like a rival of ChatGPT. So here's my prompt. How did the DRC conflict start? Right? I'll read you some pointers here.
Okay. Can
You're
I
still
work
there?
with this?
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect. Okay. So this is what this thing is saying.
Yes.
It's saying the conflicts in the DRC are deeply complex with roots that stretch back decades. However, key factors that significantly ignited the major conflicts include the Rwandan genocide. Would you agree to that?
They said it has its roots in the Rwandan genocide.
That's what it says.
I can say its roots is in the Rwandan genocide, but at least because of the Rwandan genocide, the conflict that was in Rwanda were exported to Congo
Okay.
because of the genocide and because world leaders who are supposed to stop genocide in Rwanda didn't do that, and they felt guilty for not doing it. They allowed Rwanda to attack Congo to seek to chase Hutu who killed Tutsi in Rwanda. That's
Okay.
how the conflict of Rwanda spilled over in Congo. That's the reality.
Okay. So at
I
least
can
you can,
say root.
yeah,
I can say
you can agree on that. Now, it also goes to what you were saying now in 1996. I won't read because we know what happened in Rwanda, right? Well publicized a genocide. Now it says
Yes.
the first Congo War, as you stated, in 1996. But now here it has 2 bullet points. It says concerns over Hutu militia activity in eastern Zaire, Congo, DRC, led Rwanda and Uganda, as you said, right, to support a rebellion led by Laurent Kabila. That's what this thing is saying. The second point it raises that this war resulted in the overthrow of Mobutu Sese Seko's regime and Kabila's rise to power.
Yes.
uh, overthrowing Mobutu was one of the causes. One of the cause, because Mobutu was Americans didn't want him anymore after they used him for decades. And for Rwanda, it was the pretext is to chase Hutu militias, the Interahamwe, that went to Congo. But when you call it rebellion, it's a mistake, because it was not initiated by Congolese. We call a rebellion something that's become a civil war in a country, but the conflict in Congo was not and is not a civil war. It is an international war. It is an international conflict, because it was initiated by Kigali, Kampala, who were joined by Burundi, and because all were Tutsi-led governments. So it has also that ethno-political side.
That's where I was going, Prof. And this is where I feel as Africans, we need to thread carefully, because we know tribal issues can cause a lot of problems on our continent.
Yes.
You say, and you seem to be agreeing with the other gentleman that was on the channel, giving his own background. But now I will take yours seriously because of your background and your academics and your involvement in conflict resolution in what was happening in Rwanda. Right? You've been to South Africa in meetings trying to deliberate on conflict resolution post the Rwandan genocide. But now you keep raising the issue of Tutsis. You mentioned Museveni. You didn't mention his name, but you are referring to him, correct?
Yes.
Museveni, Kagame, and someone else that you mentioned. And you said they are all Tutsis.
Buyoya.
Okay. What is their interest? What is their interest in the DRC, in Zaire?
Two. Mainly two. The first one is domination. As I said to you, they had three governments. They wanted to have a fourth government in Congo to dominate the region, because that's one of their goals. They really need to dominate the region, and that's something people used to call it the Hamitic hypothesis. Hamitic hypothesis. But for me, it's not an hypothesis, and it's not a myth. It's a reality from my research, all evidence, written evidence I collected. It's not a myth, it is a reality. And if you take those three governments, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and they put on power Laurent Kabila, whom they recruited, because Laurent Kabila was already done. He was not able to fight anymore. But they recruited him, they talked with him in Kampala, and Museveni put him under the responsibility of Kagame, and then what you call rebellion started. But it was an invasion, and unfortunately, it's only many years later that everyone acknowledged that it was an invasion with a Congolese mask. The mask is Laurent Kabila, who was really a screen leader of the rebellion. He wasn't even named as the chairman of the rebellion. He was named as spokesperson, only spokesperson. But because he wanted also to become president of Congo, at the end, he changed things. He stole leadership from those of that group, ethnic group that led the war. The second thing they have is territory. Territory. They really want to take part of the Congo either as part of Uganda and Rwanda at least, or if they cannot get those parts of the Congo annexed to Uganda and Rwanda, and maybe to Burundi. Now I can't say it with Burundi, but they may have the same projects until now. The lists, they would have part of the Congo controlled by people from their own tribe. That's why you see they say, okay, we come to support and to protect Banyamulenge, to protect the Tutsi who are threatened by genocide. They are trying to take genocide as their own, as if it was their own. It's only them who can be genocided. So that the two things I would like you to know. And then the third one would be resources. Resources simply because that's the way they could finance the war. Without those resources, they cannot. So they get partnership with corporations, Western corporations, and then they are used by those corporations to get resources, natural resources from the Congo, and they keep waging war. That's why you can see from 1996, war still going on because they have that ways of maintaining the situation. So I have two main for Rwandans and Ugandans and maybe Burundians. And the third one, which is actually for their sponsors, who are companies and governments of the West and maybe everywhere. And Kagame says it in other words in an interview when he said, they are accusing us of stealing minerals from the Congo. We don't have industries. They are not accusing those who are benefiting from those minerals. They are not talking about, and he mentioned Brussels, he mentioned Tel Aviv, he mentioned the other nation, Dubai. He says, we are just a transit. It only pass through Rwanda. We don't have any. So you have the real situation that we can call cause of the war. Domination, lust of domination, of power over others. Territory, they want to take territory from Rwanda and from the Congo, and they say it also. Kagame said it, Mr. Kabarebe said it, and you have some churches leaders saying it. They say at least five counties in Congo need to be occupied by M23, Ruchuru, Masisi, Fizi, Uvira, Mwenga, but Mwenga, they don't mention Mwenga per se, they mention Itombwe. So you have it. And the last is resources.
I want us to focus on the third one. You said it's a minor one,
I
but
don't say
my
it's
interest in
I don't say it's a minor. I don't say that.
okay.
I don't say it's not. I don't say it's a minor, but it comes later. When they were coming, it wasn't about resources. It was about those
Power
two
and
first.
territory. Power and
Yes.
territory. Ne? Okay.
Yes.
Now, please indulge us on the resources. The reason why I'm focusing on the resources is that it has become common knowledge that Congo is the or one of the richest countries in the world in terms of mineral resources, right? We know whether you speak cobalt, I forgot now what they use to make these smart batteries.
Yes. Lithium, uranium.
Yes, it's all
Yes.
found in the Congo to such an extent that they have young children mining this stuff. And it's not even regulated that much. It's in South Africa, we call artisan miners zamazamas. Zamazama means people who are trying. It looks like a lot of the mines in the Congo that mine these precious minerals that are used for technological devices are run by artisan miners or not so skilled miners, zamazamas. Why is the government of Congo not protecting its resources? Are these guys that powerful that they can cause this mess?
Yes. That's one of the point I had to make uh, a bit late in the conversation, but let me go through it now because of your question.
No,
Is
I
that
see it's the last point. Sorry, I see it's the last point in our order here. But I want us to focus on this thing because I see this could be a broad conversation. And because of time, I don't want it to be longer than an hour. We can come back because the audience on this channel likes engaging whoever has come for an interview. So I want this one to be an open one to the public where we'll indulge everything. But here, let's focus on the resources and then the other politics of tribal issues, territory. Maybe we can indulge the audience. And I'm saying this because I know this is a very controversial issue. There were a lot of people who are seemingly saying that people who say this is a tribal thing that is driven by Tutsis are wrong, right? So when you come on that live, expect a lot of people to challenge you. But now you have the time to focus on the resources. Let's talk about the resources.
the resources, natural resources, rhetoric has become so conventional that it hides the real motivation of wars by Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi in Congo. And the real motivation is domination territory for them. And now they accept to be used, even if President Kagame says he's Pan-Africanist, they accept to be used by the Western leaders to plunder resources from the Congo. And why the Congo is in such a bad position to defend itself? That's something which is decided, which has been decided by the Western leaders, especially those who control the UN. Remember, we have a united force in the Congo from 1989, and one of the mission of that force was to rebuild the army in the Congo. They did not do it, and when they did it, they didn't want the Congo to have a big army. They wanted to have an army which was just some, they said, some 16 brigades 16 brigade, I don't know, for specialists, they couldn't cover the whole country. As a result, the Congo is not covered by its army. Second, and that's one of the strategies used by Rwanda, is, for those who read the Bible, they know Mark 3:23. If the satanic strategy is to go and I'm trying to find the English word to say this, is to take the leader of the house, to take him hostage. After you take the leader of the house hostage, you can plunder everything in the house the way you want. That's what Jesus said. And that's one of the strategy Rwanda uses. First, they took Laurent Kabila, they put him on power. But when Laurent Kabila decided to rebel against them, they killed him. Who did they put? They put his son.
You're making strong accusations here, Prof. I
Wait,
support
I'm
it with evidence.
eh?
Support it with evidence.
Yes.
I will send you my book to read. So they put Laurent Kabila first, and then after they killed him, they put his son, and his son reigned for 18 years. And what happened? The army of the Congo, because the Congo didn't have an army, the army of the Congo was integrating Rwandan's troops in the army of the Congo. So even if you hear DRC army, we don't have an army per se.
So are you suggesting that
All
the DRC army is full of Rwandans?
yes, at least at the high ranking commanders and especially at strategic posts, they are controlled by Rwanda.
What is the reason behind this?
When
What is
there
the
is-
reason behind this? And how do they manage to implement this?
To weaken the Congo so that the Congo cannot defend itself. That's one of the way they put things. So the UN that was supposed to help rebuild the army didn't do it correctly. It didn't want to have a big army, and we need a big army for a big country. They didn't do it. If you ask what's the number of soldiers in Congo, all the numbers they will give you are wrong. President Tshisekedi himself said it. When he came to power, he wanted to know what was the number of soldiers in the Eastern Congo against the so-called rebellion of M23. They told him 15,000. But when he went there, he said himself, I didn't even see 7,000. Isn't that scandalous? So we don't have a real army that can defend the country. And that is something decided and maintained that way because they don't want those who are supporting Rwanda do not want to have a strong army in the Congo because they want, Rwanda cannot resist. Even if all Rwandans become soldiers, all Congolese can become soldiers too. We are more than 100 million people in Congo. They are, if they are many, 12 million. So how can they hold us in that position? Simply because they control our army and they control our intelligence services. Do you know that all those who are working in borders patrol in Congo are controlled by Rwanda, by a Rwandan company. A Rwandan
Throughout
company.
the country, not only on the eastern border, throughout the country. Is this the case?
All the strategic parts of the Congo, because they have governed the Congo for many years. Do you know that the first chief of staff of the DRC army, the so-called DRC army, when Laurent Kabila came, his name was James Kabarebe. Do you know that name? James Kabarebe is the current Minister of Cooperation and Regional Cooperation of Rwanda. And he was Chief of Staff of the Rwandan Army, and he was the person who led the operations on the ground in the Congo, on the Congo ground until Kinshasa.
Okay.
7 months.
Okay. Let's talk about the military.